And that's always my suggestion is to whether you go shadow somebody in a TV station or shadow somebody that's doing what you want to do that so you can really see what's going on behind the scenes, not just what you think is happening. Because all people see online is the finished product. They don't see the work that goes behind it.
On today's episode of Loves Music, I talked to Shameika Rhymes, one of the busiest women in media. She has multiple shows, she talks to multiple celebrities, and luckily, I was able to pin her down for an hour-long conversation on this episode of Loves Music. Come along with me. So, Shameika, I want to start by thanking you. It means the world that you're actually here on Loves Music joining me. This is one of the first times when I went to do my research and I was actually overwhelmed. You are doing so many exciting things and so many interesting things. You are moving the culture forward. You are putting out entertaining content that is also informative, something that people can really sink their teeth into and learn something from and still feel good. First question, where do you find the time to do all this?
That's a good question. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Because I threw out this weird anybody invite me on their podcast.
Yeah, I jumped on it too. I was like, right over here.
Yeah. Finding the time, I think because I've just been doing this hustle for so long, it's like second nature. And when I'm not doing it, I'm like bored. So I think it's just something that because I've been doing it for so long, I just make the time.
When you say this hustle, I know by trade you're a journalist, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is an extension of your 9 to 5. So you've always been in media?
So my background is the core background is television news,
Okay.
right? So television news can be, I don't want to say boring, but if you are that type that loves entertainment, pop culture, music, all those things, being in that day-to-day grind of hard news, city council meetings, murders, fires, all that thing, those things I literally could write in my sleep, those scripts, because you're writing the same thing, substitute the name, the address, all those things, right? Or the issue. So I had to find my outlet, which started with blogging. And then ultimately, once I kind of got the hang of that, because honestly, I was working an overnight shift of 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. I had time.
Okay.
And so, yeah. And plus, it was helping me stay awake because once I had my shows already stacked and ready, I still had time and needed to stay awake at work. So
Right.
it was kind of that foundation of building this side hustle. And then just over the course of time, as I started becoming a freelance writer or journalist, whatever you want to call it, which is ultimately what has carried me for, gosh, I guess it's been 2009, 10, somewhere along in there, which has brought me to now full circle of just doing my own platform. I no longer work in news, but those skills that I learned, it's still, I still use those now. So
Got it.
yeah, so it's still a hustle because I'm still operating, like even in my side gig stuff as that TV news producer, that TV reporter, that type of hustle. So that's kind of what I mean.
Now let's talk about your own platform. I was a little bit one-dimensional when I started reading about you. It looks like it's called Check the Rhyme TV. So I'm thinking it's going to be this kind of hip hop spot, but it's actually a lot more expansive than that. I mean, there's some big names on there. To name drop a few, you did an interview with Barry Sanders, Hall of Fame NFL running back, Ernie Hudson, Method Man's kids. I mean, you had a pretty extensive guest list on there. That's Check the Rhyme TV is your platform that you run and produce on your own. Well, obviously with a team, but it's yours.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So it actually turned 5 years old back in January.
Okay.
And this was really, I think, kind of just started building it during the pandemic, right? So because we were all in the house, had nothing to do. And
Right.
and honestly, I think it was the best time because it was easy for me to book interviews because these celebrities weren't doing anything either. They wanted that connection, wanted to get their stories out. If they were working on music and they were like, I can't go on tour right now because we're in a pandemic. So it was really kind of easy or easier for me to get the bulk of them during that time when I was building this platform. And since it's not really a hip hop thing, honestly, the name came from, so Rhymes is my last name.
Sure.
And then Will Downing, every time I spoke to him, he'd be like, check the rhymes, yo. And I was like,
Mhm.
that's cute. So,
Right. Okay,
so
so
that's
you're not
how
like an enthusiastic Tribe Called Quest fan, right?
yeah, yeah. So I was like, long as it's not, I looked and I was like, okay, cool. It's not spelled the same, so we're good.
Yeah. There you go. So what's that process like, trying to reach out to more well-known actors or entertainers? It can't be as simple as just sending an email, right? Is there like a process?
Um, well, because like I said, I've been doing the freelance writing for so long. What happens is you build connections and networks and you nurture those relationships. So when I started this channel or platform, the first thing I did was think, who do I want to reach out to kick this off? Because technically I started it in 2019, but I started it under my blog name, which is the Mofo Chronicles. And so I thought, gosh, I don't want to talk about dating all the time and relationships because I've been there, done that. And, I was like, I'm over it. I've grown since I started that blog in 2007, 2008. So I thought, you know what? Let me look through my phone. Who can I reach out to? So it was Ananda Lewis that we actually recorded the interview. I think it was like November, December of 2019 to kick it off when I decided to pull the trigger in January 2020. And so it's really just those relationships. A lot of people like Will Down and I'll just text like, hey, you want to come on the show? Or he'll text me,
Wow.
I got new music. What day you want me to come on? So it's those relationships. I have relationships with publicists, and then I'm still getting, because of all the bylines, like for example, Parade Magazine, I was doing health and wellness and entertainment there. So I still get, because they tend to update every article every few months. So then I get a new batch of publicists in my inbox because they think I'm writing for them. And it's like, no, but while I got you, I'm booking for this and this and this. So yeah, and it is about, sometimes it's a cold email, sometimes it's a cold call, or it's, you know what? I got an interview with Bow-Legged Lou from Full Force because I was backstage at a Will Downing concert. And I said, I recognize that laugh. And I looked over and I said, let me talk to you for a minute. Got that interview.
Nice. So that's good. And there is a certain magnetism when you do talk to your people. I feel like you do that thing where you match energies. So when you're talking to, say, Barry Sanders about sleep apnea, very straightforward, professional. And then when you're talking to Ananda Lewis, I feel like I'm just like eavesdropping on two girlfriends. And there's like a comfortability there. And I'm sure that extends into your networking practices as well. That's why people feel so comfortable with you. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would absolutely say so. Because with Ananda, I was writing for Shondaland, .com, I think is the website, whatever the website is now. I was writing for it when she first launched that website. And Ananda was so gracious. I tracked that lady down, and I'm a good. And that's another thing I'm known for, finding people that nobody has thought of in years. So
There you
I
go.
I found her because she wasn't doing TV anymore, and we just kind of we hit it off in that interview, but that was written. And it's funny because every outlet I go to, I'm like, hey, Ananda. So that relationship kind of just built up over the course of time. And then, a lot of times I'll just, which actually you and I did, was sit and talk for a few minutes before we hit record. So you build that rapport a little bit and then you just do the interview. Like Tracy Spencer, for example. Of course, that one was for blackdoctor.org for my show, Solebration. I made that lady cry and I didn't mean to before
Oh,
we went
wow.
on, but she was like, I'll always remember you as the one that made me cry before an interview. And I was like, no, I did not mean to. But we laughed a lot. But we connected, I think. So yeah, I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about the diversity of your different properties. Like I know that you have, and I'm sorry if I'm mistitling anything. It starts with check the rhymes TV.
Uh-huh.
Solebration is another. I'm going to say it's another interview style show, which I guess celebrates culture in all forms. It's more entertainer driven versus blackdoctor.org, which is more medically driven.
Yeah, so Check the Rhymes is definitely more entertainment driven. And then Celebration, which is on the blackdoctor.org platform, which I put it on Check the Rhymes because one, my parents couldn't needed to be able to find it. That was
You got the same parents as
honestly
mine.
the reason. I was like, let me stream it over here so they can find it. Cause
Yeah,
you
my
know,
parents like the link. Put the link right here in big capital so we can watch it.
right, right. So I had to be able to stream because like my dad isn't on Facebook, so he wouldn't have
Right.
seen a Facebook, stream. So putting it on, I thought, yeah, I do have some people that just aren't on social media, but they watch YouTube, and I want them to connect to this show. So I stream Celebration on my platform as well, but it is mainly on blackdoctor.org, and it is health. That show is technically lifestyle, but it's health, wellness, culture, really just about making sure we are, as a community, healthy and that we're being our best self. And it really, this show kind of has taken that turn of feeding our soul, celebrating who we are, just all those feel good things. So that's the other thing. And then I have pulled away from it on Check the Rhymes, but it's Ladies Edition Podcast is the third entity, which is a podcast that I host with Shelly Cheyenne, and it is all about women's health. So as you'll see, Celebration is that middle piece that brings both the Ladies Edition and Check the Rhymes together.
Got it. Yeah, I actually listened to that a little bit too. I wanted to get kind of like a taste of everything across the board. Yeah, the lady. I think I don't know if I want to say the joke on here. What did Shelly say on there? She said, "I have a virginal body. I don't want nonsense in my body." Remember?
Yeah,
She
she's
said that
always
joke.
saying that. There was one where she's like, we were talking about sea moss, and she's like, I don't like putting things in my mouth. And I was like, what? And the reaction was just so
Right. Yeah, right. Do what you will with the context, right?
right, exactly.
Yeah. But no, but I mean, that's another great show. And even that is more, and maybe it's just the episode I listened to, or maybe that's just the general vibe of the show, but even that was more comedic than say
It
the
is.
other two properties. So you have all these different outlets where you can pretty much anybody that wants to work with you, I feel like you have like an avenue where you can connect. And then there's already a built-in audience for that relationship or that dialogue,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, it's really cool how you set that up. Do you ever feel like it's hard to balance all those different properties?
It is. And I haven't done a great job of it because I've gotten overwhelmed because Celebration was not planned. It was just like, kind of brought to me the idea of the show. I brought the name because actually I created the name in 2017. So I brought the name with me because I thought, well, it's been sitting here collecting dust. But um, so yeah, so I just went hard in because I had never done a live show weekly before. Everything had been recorded where I can say whatever and mess up and we can edit it out. But to go live every single week for an hour, I was like, I don't know
That's
if I can do
daunting.
that.
It's terrifying. Yeah. Yeah,
So
I'm gonna edit this conversation all up. Yeah, I don't have to worry about
right, yeah.
stuttering
So
and skipping
so
and
so that for me, I got overwhelmed because I was still trying to do Check the Rhymes, still trying to do Ladies Edition, and it got to be way too much. I think it was last year. Plus, I had a part-time job with NBC, so it was like something's got to go. And so people were like, I can't believe you did that, but I kicked NBC to the curb.
okay. Well, is there a part of this process that you like the most? I mean, obviously you have to wear a whole bunch of hats. Like for instance, as creatives or like I talk to a lot of musicians. I'm a musician myself. Obviously I love being in the studio, but I hate self-promotion. But if you want to have any kind of presence in the music industry, like it's like 80% self-promotion and like 20%
Right.
music, you know? So it's like you have to kind of deal with a lot of things that aspects of the business you don't really want to.
Right.
What's the media parallel to that? Like, what do you love doing? And then what's the part where you're like, "Oh, I have to do this other thing."
I hate social media and I hate editing. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, wow.
The rest of it, I love planning out shows or what interviews I'm going to do. So like for example, I'm in the process right now of planning out May and June for blackdoctor.org for Celebration. And I get excited like about who am I going to bring on to I will come up with a topic and then it's like, okay, now I got to find somebody. So it's like that challenge of who am I going to find that's the best fit to talk about this, this, and this. And also while keeping in line with whatever theme of the month, because there's a bajillion health awareness month things every month. So it's like I'm trying to stick to that as well and be aware of that. But I also want guests that are entertaining that can rock with me for an hour and go with me if I just say something out the side of my neck that doesn't belong on a health platform. But I also want it to be comfortable and I want them to share and be open and take questions from the audience. So I think that's become my most favorite part too, is interacting with the audience because again, I'm doing lives every week. And so seeing the comments has been absolutely one of my favorite parts because I'll see a comment that says, "This fed my soul." Okay, then I did my job today. You know what I mean? So, or, they may say, "Bring this person back." Okay, I did my job. Y'all like this one. And because in my
Nice.
head, I might be thinking, "You ain't coming back."
Right. Yeah. So can you take me through your preparation process because your dialogue and your camaraderie, your chemistry seems to flow so naturally. Like, what are you doing as like the lead up steps to get yourself in a position to just sit across from somebody and being able to engage so effectively?
Like maybe right before the show or just in general?
I would say from once you have your theme decided, then you choose the guest and the guest says yes. From yes to record. Like,
Okay.
what do you do in between there?
Okay. All right. So, obviously, I had to start keeping a calendar of everything in a list of because I have. If you saw my desk, not this desk behind me, but my other desk that has all these post-it notes. So once I've kind of locked everybody in, everybody has a calendar invite so that I remember who's supposed to come on and when. I honestly only focus on whatever show for that week. And once that show is done, then I focus on the next week's show. So I try to give individual attention because some people want to hop on a call. Some people have questions. Some people they need their nerves soothed or they just want to, they want the questions ahead of time. So sometimes I'm having to prep those questions. Maybe I try to get it to them maybe the Friday before. And I also turn in the questions and everything else to blackdoctor.org so that they know what I'm not just going to be on their platform all willy-nilly doing
Right. Yeah.
whatever. And they also give me suggestions as to what types of shows they may want me to try to do. But so that's really the bulk of it is trying to so maybe my show is on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday is when I'm prepping for the next week and when I may be talking to, the publicist or if the person has questions. And then that following Monday, I'll check in. You good? Got any questions? And they may have questions, they may not. Some have worried me to death by not responding at all. And I'm like, you gonna show up Wednesday? We just had that happen a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But they do show up. But and then right before the show, I'm gonna be honest, I find me a good playlist on YouTube because I
Yeah.
gotta hype myself up.
Yeah.
But before that,
A playlist of music or a playlist to like
playlist
previous.
of music, I will
Okay.
find. My newest obsession is DJs on YouTube, so I will
Okay.
find a good playlist or a good DJ that's got like some whatever theme I'm thinking of that day that I need to get hype with. And while I'm getting ready, that's what I'm listening to. But right before that, it's like maybe an hour before I shut my phone off and it's quiet time. Don't bother
Nice.
me. Like,
But you
don't
said about an hour before?
an hour, maybe an hour before I start to get ready. Yes. So it's
Okay.
like
So
I
are you
just
in like a meditative state or you're just like, all right, no music, no phone? You're talking like complete silence,
complete
in the
silence.
zone, keyed in.
Yep. Half the
Yeah.
time I fall asleep, but yes, just
Okay.
deep breathing, just
Mhm.
really because I do have a day job. So it's like I need that time to calm down so I can switch gears. And then it's like, all right, let me turn on my hype playlist or whatever I'm listening so I can hype myself up for the job I love.
Right. All right. Well, I'm gonna come back to that playlist in a minute. It's Love's
Okay.
Music, so people are gonna want to know what's on that playlist.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I want to give you an opportunity though, real fast though. Give me a humble brag. Give me a time that you did an interview with somebody, famous or non, and you finish that interview and you're like, I killed that one. I smashed that interview.
Honestly, I don't ever think that. I just no, you know what? I'll take that back. The Ananda Lewis one when she came on Solebration, that is the only time I've ever had an interview go viral. And I
Mm.
was literally at a whole nother event and I had my Google alerts blowing up and I was like,
Mhm.
they got the right name?
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait, maybe they meant like a tribe called Quest. But I was like, wait, this is insane. So for those that haven't seen it, and if you go to my YouTube channel, it's like pinned on there, you'll see it. but she was talking about her breast cancer journey when it was literally a day after that CNN interview came out, where the next day the headlines went crazy and people were thinking she was dying and all the things. And so she came on Solebration to set the record straight. And so I don't really get nervous, but that one I was like, I had to overhaul my show because she's like, just watch. Because I'm like, what do you want to talk about? Just watch the CNN interview. And I was like, girl, I've had this show planned since the week before. And now I have to redo it.
Research.
Yes, redo it. And so that one, I also took a different approach. I gave her the space to talk and say what she wanted. And it it was like I felt like a little bit felt like I had my Oprah moment just a little bit.
Yeah.
And so to see, and actually I'm looking at, I can't reach it right now. Just I printed out all of the articles that had Check the Rhymes TV and that clip from Celebration. And so I was really proud of myself then. And she was excited, like, yes, we got you some press. And I was like, wait, why are you excited? But for me, that was like a little bit of validation too. So I
Yeah.
was really proud of that interview.
Yeah, it's not surprising that that is the interview that that probably got the most following. I had it on. This is while I was working out, so I listened to that interview, and there was obviously she was very vulnerable with you, clearly very comfortable with you.
Yeah.
There was there was some conflicting feedback because I think she decided to retain the tumor a little bit longer, which moved her into stage 4. And so you had a very just very interesting segment about taking preventative measures and what you can do.
Mhm.
You know, obviously outside of the obvious testing and everything, but
Right.
but there's I don't want to like miss, you know,
Yeah, you
but
got it.
yeah, but it was like, oh, this is like a serious. This is really interesting. You kind of like lose yourself in an interview. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how you know you got a good episode too. You look
Yeah.
down your clock, 30 minutes went by, and you just didn't get anything done because you're just like on the episode. Yeah.
Right.
So thank you for ruining my productivity for that 30 minutes.
You're welcome.
But it was very- well, first off, congratulations on a killer interview and awesome work that you're doing. I can't stress enough.
Thank you.
You're not just doing entertaining things, but you're doing important work as well. And everybody should at absolute least go on your page and find a video that resonates and check it out because it really is incredible. But this is a music show, and we got to talk about some music.
Absolutely.
So you're clearly a music lover. I know obviously you go to live shows. Can you take me back to one of my favorite questions? Is I always ask people to take me back to your earliest memory of music. Sometimes it's church, sometimes it's Disney, sometimes it's when do you remember the first time you heard music and you were like, what is this? What's happening to my ears right now? What is this?
It might be a couple different things because my mom and I were talking about this, and I don't even know why it popped in my head one day, but I was starting to sing it, and I was like, wait, I remember it was a little red cassette tape too. Every
Yep.
time I got in the car with my mom, I'm like, play this tape. It was Cinderella, the soundtrack to
Yeah.
Cinderella.
Okay.
And it was like the bippity boppity boo song. That was my jam.
That's a catchy number. That's a good number.
Right. But I think ultimately my dad, he had the biggest record collection.
Okay.
So that was my introduction to like New Edition, Michael Jackson, all of my favorites now. So um yeah, so I think those are my earliest memories.
So you're elementary school-ish around that like late 80s. So you got New Edition, Prime Michael Jackson, Prince.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
about correct. Okay. So
Sorta.
when you
I'm
so
like
when you
sorta.
yeah.
I don't know if I was in elementary school by then.
Yeah. You don't gotta get into
Right.
specifics.
I was
We're
in
peers.
school.
I know about where. So when you actually adopt the music like as your own, like all right, now I'm now this is like now I have my own taste, my own like what do you get your first car, you're going to high school, you got your Walkman on or Discman. What are you playing as you're coming up?
So first I got my first record player probably I think it was in the 80s. It's so funny because I still have that first record. I should have brought it up here with me. Um, and I bought it at my neighbors had a yard sale, and I took my little dollar over there and I purchased the Strawberry Shortcake
There we go.
soundtrack. So I
Come
still
on.
have that
Let's
album.
go.
The vinyl, I still have the vinyl.
I'm already to the record player. Yeah, so we had like the Fisher Price one, and we had like the Christmas Alvin and the Chipmunks one. So that was like the first like record at my grandmom's. You get left at my grandma. My grandmom had the record player at her house,
Uh-huh.
and it was like the Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas, and that was like one of like the first records. It
So
was
funny.
that, and then I think right after that it was like Annie. We had like an Annie record that
Oh,
I
how
played a lot.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like, I think going into like, on my Walkman, I guess, before I transitioned to the Discman, actually, let me go back to the record player, because and it's in an interview on Check the Rhymes with Melvin Riley from Ready for the World. I wore Oh Sheila out on that record player.
Oh, all right. That's fun.
You couldn't tell me that he was not British. So when I actually spoke to him, I was like,
Really?
you don't sound like you did on the, on the album.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
he does the whole line thing in the interview a couple times, and I'm like just in awe and cracking up. Like, you really are not British at all.
You like that? It's just a gimmick. So all right, so now you're listening to music. So when you do go to, obviously you go to shows. Like, what is your I call it like your take my money band. Somebody's coming to town. I don't care how much it costs. I have to be there. I don't
Yeah.
care what it is. I just have to go. Who are you seeing?
Well, let me go back real quick, because I don't think I answered your other question about the
Okay.
high school and stuff.
Okay.
H-Town. That's what I was listening to.
Oh,
I
okay.
had no clue what they were singing about, but I loved
Yeah,
H-Town.
that's
I
so
did
funny.
not know what knocking the boots meant, lick you up, none of that. But I loved me some H-Town.
That's so funny. I loved H Town, and my parents were like, absolutely not. So I had an album. I had to get rid of it, but they let me keep my Shy album. You know what I'm talking about?
That is hilarious. But
Yeah.
yeah, I listened to H-Town, and then our senior trip in high school was actually it was, gosh, where was it? It was Carowinds in North Carolina, but it was like a summer jam. I don't even know what it was. H-Town was there. I was like, I don't care. Like, if I'm grounded for the rest of my life, just let me go to this and to see. And I'm glad I had that opportunity, because I think, obviously we know that Dino from H-Town passed away.
I didn't know
So
that.
I'm glad that I had that chance to see them, all of them together.
Always thought they dressed so cool. They had like the baggy pants and like the really big boots. And I was
Yeah.
like, man, that's cool, man. I was like,
Yeah.
I wish I could be cool.
Right. Yeah. But
Yeah.
but I'm trying to think, who would I mean, obviously, I think when I was kind of like take my money,
Mm.
when Prince came to Charlotte, that
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, I don't care what I got to pay to get in there. I think going to see Janet Jackson for the first time, the tickets were sold out in Charlotte. So I hopped a plane and went to Dallas, Texas, because I was like, I'm going to see Janet Jackson.
Love that. That's like my people. If you're willing to travel to go see music, like you're like
Yeah.
place in my heart.
Yeah.
I'll do stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I missed. I'm going to Pittsburgh because funny. I saw a band I really like. I left early because I thought they were about to go. I went on and checked the I feel so corny saying this. I went on and checked the set list, and I was like, oh, I missed like a good amount of songs, and they're not a band that tours very often. So now I'm like, all right, well, they're coming back, but they're coming to Pittsburgh. And I was like, I called my buddy. I'm like, yo, you do anything in June? I'm like literally driving 4 hours just to go see like the half a dozen songs like I didn't see at the last
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that doesn't make any sense, but it's what you do. You love music. That's what you do, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I was sick and had my friend, actually my coworker, he was like, I'm going to Atlanta. And I was like, well, I got these media passes. I want to see the Jacksons. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. Every book report that I did, or any reports that I did
Mhm.
growing up, were all about the Jacksons.
Really?
I loved the Jacksons. So, yeah, so that was my first time seeing them when Jermaine was actually being bothered with them. so,
Yeah.
so we drove to Atlanta. I went to that show. He had something else to do. I went to that show by myself, sinus infection and all. It was outside, so I wasn't passing germs. and so,
Okay.
and then, I mean, I was in heaven being able to
Really?
just see that. I mean, I wish Michael was there, and
Yeah.
if Michael was still alive, I'd say take all my money. Take the
Right.
house, take all of it.
Seriously, that I'm taking my second mortgages. I'm maxing out credit cards. You
Yeah.
got like if you had a chance to see Michael, you gotta see Michael. Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah. I hate that's the one I hate. I never got to see.
Yeah. Well, I guess if they were touring, how long ago was this?
When it was all four of them, this had to be because I was still working in the newsroom, like 2012, maybe.
That makes sense. So I remember they did like a family honors thing.
Oh,
And I
Black
wonder if
Music Honors.
yeah, it was around like the same time when like they all came out. Michael wasn't with them, but they did something on like TV.
If it was Black Music Honors, because I was there, and that was another picture that kind of took off on social media because everybody knows I love the Jacksons, so I have a selfie. It's hanging in my living room like their family, but it's me, Jackie,
Mhm.
Marlon, and Tito, and it's a
Hanging in your
selfie on the
living
red
room.
carpet. They were
That's incredible. That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah, and so that was 2017. Jermaine didn't come to that one, but they were honored then. So that one was a great moment.
Fun. Yeah. So do you tend to do you connect with a lot of musicians now, like on the different like media shows and outlets?
It depends. Some that for the people that I know that come to town, like Will Downing, I may not even ask him for a ticket. He'll just say, "Are you coming to the show?" And I'm like, "Are you giving me a ticket? Or are you just asking if I'm coming?" And now it's like, and now that I know him, it's like if he's asking me that, he's leaving me tickets. Or,
There you go.
certain people I know if they ask that, they're like, "Your tickets are here." So but I don't ask them for tickets.
No.
Usually I'm like, if I'm going not in the capacity of working, then I want to go enjoy the show, so I'll just pay.
Yeah.
Like right now I'm like, what concert did I just go to? Like Usher. Like it was weird for that one to just be spectator, fan, and not be working.
Yeah. That's cool though. I mean, I got Usher on the list. I never saw Usher live, but
Oh, he's good. He's
I
good. No,
can
he's
imagine.
great.
Well, his last tour, he did I think didn't he do like he did a Vegas residency right before
Yeah.
the Super Bowl and then did the Super Bowl. I don't know if he tour after the Super Bowl. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because was that last year?
Yeah. I know it
Yeah.
was recent. Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw
Yeah.
him in October.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's on the list. I mean, you got to say, I mean, that's the closest thing to Mike we pretty much got. You know?
Right.
Uh, yeah. So here's a funny question. And I'm gonna ask the question. I'm gonna give you an example, right?
Okay.
So I always ask. I said, what's an artist that you like that people would be surprised that you like? Like, for instance, if you were friends with me pre 2008, you just think I'm like a hip hop guy, and if you're friends with me post 2008, I'm like an alt rock indie guy. So if you were to get in my but one of my like guilty pleasures is just like female pop music. So you'll get in my car on any given day and I have like Lady Gaga like turned all the way up. You know, it's for whatever reason I just dig it, right? And people are like, dude, you listen to this? I'm like, yeah, Poker Face slaps. Yeah, I definitely listen to this. Do you have an artist that would totally catch people off guard? Like, what? You listen to this?
So I had posted I think it was a couple of years ago. I finally got to interview Debbie Gibson. And
Okay.
I love Debbie Gibson growing up, right? Like,
Mhm.
so, and I've got the vinyl and I
Yeah.
got the chance to interview her, but it was for a written article. So I still have the Zoom where we recorded it, but I didn't share that with anybody. But
Huh.
I love me some Debbie Gibson, and I will still pause. And if it's playing in a store somewhere, I am Electric Youth, and then sometimes I'm Britney Spears. Like,
Oh, yeah, Brittany. Yeah. I mean, you gotta like Brittany. That's a
yeah, yeah, and New Kids on the Block. Like I went to the New Kids on the Block concert. Like I didn't
yeah.
get to go when I was a kid when they were like
I really,
big. So going now, I was like, I'm putting my ponytail up and
yeah,
wearing
you went
my
when they were like new men on the
80s
block.
clothes.
Like they're like grown with kids.
Yeah, right. They are. They're like in their 50s.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm like the same. It's like I just missed the band boy era or the band boy. I just missed
Yeah,
the boy band era by like a year or two. But my brother's 4 years younger, so I
yeah.
was like, so my mom's like, yeah, take your brother to NSYNC concert. I was like, all right, man. I haven't missed it. I haven't missed the Timberlake concert since. I think I went to the Pop Odyssey one. I went to
Uh-huh.
No Strings Attached, Justin Solo one, and then like 3 or 4 more. Like every time they came to Philadelphia,
That's
you
so
know.
funny.
Yeah, everyone's like, he was like, you like this boy band stuff? I'm like, yeah, I do. Yes, I do very much. I just saw Timberlake past 4th of July.
Oh, cool. Oh,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
yeah.
I think my friends weren't aware of my musical taste until we did karaoke for a birthday party I had. and they were surprised that I like Future.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you
They
like
were like,
Future.
"How do you know the words to this?" And I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, y'all don't?"
yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, that's your go-to karaoke? You do Future songs?
I just tried it out that one time, but since they weren't feeling it, I was like, "This didn't land well." So
I don't know. Maybe a A for choice, a C for execution.
right, right.
Yeah, that's karaoke though. You go in overzealous. You pick this hard to perform song.
Right.
Then you realize about by the first chorus, you're like, yeah, this wasn't it.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, "Yeah, won't be doing this one again."
No, that's fantastic. Do you do karaoke a lot?
Not really. There used to be this great karaoke spot in the it's called the Music Factory. But I think with the pandemic, it kind of shut down because you could go in there, they had a whole stage and it felt like you were actually performing. And it was just this small, intimate venue. Because my sister and I, this is so funny, we are huge Isley Brothers fans. And we got up there after we've been drinking and we're like, we're going to perform Between the Sheets.
There you go.
But as we're standing there singing it, I was like, I look at her, she looks at me, and we're both like, I don't think we should be singing this.
You're like, do we face each other? Do we face the crowd?
Right. Like, I was like, this is, and I was like, and I never really realized these were the words.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's definitely kind of got two girlfriends singing to each other. It's maybe not the
right. Yeah. Yeah.
not
But going to
applicable.
that particular place, that was a fun place because
Yeah.
like you could, because people in the crowd were hyping you up. Like I think that same night we did it was a group of us, we did a New Edition song and I was Ralph. And then someone from high school was sitting in the crowd and she was like, oh my gosh, imagine I'm running into you and you're up on stage doing a New Edition song. And I was like, you saw that?
Yeah. You're like, if you have any footage, I'm gonna need to confiscate that.
Basically.
I was like, everybody give me your phones.
Right.
Like with the comedy shows, everybody lock the phones up before I did
Exactly. But since that place closed, we haven't really, I think my birthday was one place because you can rent out these rooms that maybe fit 12 to 15 people at this, I think it's called Seoul, but it's like a Korean type of restaurant, but you can still rent out these karaoke places. But the karaoke on the screen is in Korean. So you got to know the words or else.
So you get the backtrack but no lyrics. So you better know the tune.
We haven't been back there.
Yeah, we got a place like that in Philadelphia. It's called Yakitori Boy. And it's the same thing. There's like a bar where you're just kind of in the bar with microphones. And then they have like the rooms along the side. And they give like 8, 10, 15 person rooms. And it's in English, but it's like it's about a second or two delay. So it's like you're always like a beat behind the song trying to catch up and read. So it's like so unless you know the words, it's not happening for you.
Yeah. So that's why I had to pull out Future because I was like,
Well, I know that one. I'm not surprised that you like Future. I'm surprised that you performed Future at karaoke. I'm surprised that they have Future at karaoke.
Yeah, Mask Off. That was the one.
All right. Well, all you have to remember is Molly Percocet.
Yeah, my brain was like, I thought he was saying something else. I was like, no, it's Percocet.
Yeah. I'm certain of that one.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. This is great. Well, it's good that you can manage. You can be a consummate professional, and you can actually still go out and have fun and make a fool of yourself at karaoke like me. But that's what it's all about. But this is I'm having a ball. This is great. Let's bring it back into some of the work you're doing. With everything you have going now, and I don't know how much of this you'd be willing to share, but can you give me an idea of like the size and scope of like your team and the amount of work it takes just to so people looking at home looking to get started? I want to give them an idea of exactly what it takes to run the kind of business that you have because there's a lot going on there.
What did Beyonce say? Me, myself, and I.
Yeah, you're doing all of it by yourself.
So actually, I shouldn't say that. The bulk of it, yes, I do myself. But since I hate editing and I really don't have the time to sit there and do it and don't want to. When I started this platform, one of my friends, he was like, if you need editing, I got you. We just kind of made an agreement. Like I help him with whatever he needs. And so he has been my editor for the past 5 years. And so usually I'm just like, hey, I need this. And most of the time, you'll see on Check the Rhymes, it ranges from 6-minute interviews to over an hour. It just depends. So they're like you said earlier, there's something for everybody. And those 6-minute interviews, those 6 to 10 minute ones, honestly, I work with a satellite media company to book those. So that was another thing that was super helpful, because with them though, you have to have your credentials in order. You've got to prove yourself. I feel like with they want to know your numbers. They want to know like all the things before they even say, okay, we'll let you come on this tour. And so it basically, like what you see on the news, sometimes those satellite, oh, they're joining us by satellite. Is
Right.
similar. And so that's a lot of what I have done. And so my editor, I realized actually last year, I was like, we're making this more complicated, because if you look at my interviews, a lot of the times I can't see who I'm talking to. I'm looking at myself, and I could hear them in my ear.
No, I didn't know that. You can't tell
Yeah,
at all. You
yeah.
can't tell at
So
all.
so that
Yeah.
was a skill just that I've kind of developed, like that just having to react to them, and they
Mhm.
can't see me and I can't
Mhm.
see them. And then he would just marry the two together so it looks like we're
Yeah.
talking to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in movies when you see like the shoulder of the guy and then the guy that's actually on camera, their face.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 So now we do it a lot easier. We just use
Right.
Zoom
Yeah.
because
There
I
you
was like, this is
go.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Right.
But so yeah, so it's really just us two. He's the editor. I'm doing everything else: the scheduling, the booking, the research, the interviews, questions, social media. All of it is me.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Like I mean I use a producer on my show, so now I feel really under.
Don't feel that way, because I have a producing background.
Something I wanted to ask you about too. I know that you had an affiliation or early start with Soul Train. Tell me what that was like working with them.
Yeah, so I forgot to bring this up when you asked about earliest memories. Soul Train was a huge part of those early memories, especially on Saturdays when you're supposed to be
Yeah.
cleaning up, and I would be right in front of the TV watching that and American Bandstand. I don't want to tell how old I am, but but Soul Train was, for me, it's interesting because a lot of people were saying like, "Oh, I want to be like Oprah. I want to do this. I want to do that." But I was like, I want to be like Don Cornelius. I want that job. I want to be interviewing the stars and, all those things. So, or just get me on there to dance. So basically
For
in
that.
2000, right, in 2011, I was looking for a place to write because I really was branching off from just writing the Mofo Chronicles, had tried doing a little entertainment on other platforms for other people for free. And I said, I want to get paid to do this. So I just happened to come across soultrain.com. They were looking for writers at that time. So it was like right time, and I only literally had like 2, 3 clips of like examples of writing, and I sent it in and they were like, cool, you're in. So
Really?
honestly, I call that
What
my
can,
training ground. And
what were
because
the clips of? I'm just curious. But for them to just like pick you, that so like what did you write about? I'm just curious.
okay,
Something.
so don't laugh. But again, it goes back to the Jacksons. So
Surprise, surprise.
what I did was for Creative Loafing, it was an independent, like kind of alternative type of newspaper that was here. And at the time, the editor, Carlton, was like, I'll let you promote your blog if you just write some stuff for me. And I said, okay. So I would just literally write blog posts for him for that newspaper. And then one day I said, Carlton, I want to do an interview. And he was like, all right, pitch it to me. So I did. And it was Jackie Jackson's son, Deals. Oh, he doesn't go by Deals anymore, but Siggy Jackson. He was the only rapper in the family. And so I did an article about that, interviewed him and everything. So that's what I sent them.
Okay.
That, and I think I had done like an interview with Calvin Richardson. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. And then there was one other, I can't remember who it is, but I sent them, like, they were all music related. And it may have been just like a kind of a recap of some event or something. So yeah, so I think my first interview with soultrain.com that I did was with Deron Jones from 112. I went down to Atlanta, sat in his studio, held all his Grammys. Those things are heavy.
Yeah.
And sat on that piano. I was like, just let me lay on the piano for a
Yeah,
second.
right. Yeah, right. Just give me a minute. We'll start in a bit. Just give me a
Did
second.
all
Yeah.
the ignorant things one shouldn't do during an interview.
Yeah. I remember I went through a little 112 phase. That was like it was like the like when Biggie was like breaking through and he had like the R&B tunes. Hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I really wrote for soultrain.com for 5 years before I branched off into like going into Ebony and Jet magazines. So yeah, it was definitely one, because what happened was that name Soul Train opened doors. It didn't matter. Oh, she ain't got much experience. Oh,
I would
Soul Train,
imagine.
come on
Yeah.
in. You want to be on this?
Yeah.
I was at the BET Hip Hop Awards on the red carpet, 2012. I had no business being there, but because of that name Soul
Wow.
Train,
Yeah.
I was on that car. I had no clue what to do, like
Yeah.
none. But
It's like writing for the source and then going to get a job in like a hip hop place. It's like
yeah,
if you have the name on you have the logo on the resume, you're
yeah,
golden.
yeah. So that's
Yeah.
really, I would say that for me, I was crushed when they shut that site down, because that was my favorite thing, was finding these artists that I grew up listening to, the very records that my dad would play. I would go find these artists. He would give me suggestions, like Kashif. That one, he was like, you should interview Kashif. And at the time, all I knew about Kashif was like, oh, he produced Whitney Houston. And was like, and what else? Right. So
Yeah.
so
Right.
it was really this getting to know these artists, and some of them, and I at some point I'm thinking about doing this, and because I still have the audio from every single interview, which is over probably 200 interviews
Yeah.
from that span of
Hours
time.
and hours, I'd imagine.
And some
Yeah.
of these artists are no longer here. So the most recent, I just pulled it up and was listening to it, Stedman Pearson from um, Five Star. So it hurts when these artists pass away, because it's like I sat there and listened to their stories, and they shared, like Betty Wright, when she passed, that hurt, because Betty Wright would just call randomly just to check on me. Like, I'm like, I only talked to you once,
Yeah.
but she would call, you good? You need
But you like
anything?
transcended that like interviewer client relationship and
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
struck something in these artists,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
as Shameika from North Carolina,
Yeah.
you have a little piece of of yourself with these folks, and you had real estate in her heart. You had like real estate in her heart. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
absolutely. And I have a tattoo on my arm. I don't know if I can show that. Well, probably not. I can't get it in there. Right there. Anyway, it was Kashif's signature on
Oh,
his emails. It says always in gratitude. And I'm sure you saw I signed my
yeah, I
emails
seen
that
her
way.
email. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we became really good friends.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that one kind of hurt too, because it was, he's like, if you're ever in LA, call me. And most people say that and they lie.
Yeah.
But he actually let me come to his house and spend some time there. And when I showed him how to use Twitter, and if you go to his Twitter page and go back to, say, I think it was 2012, those first tweets, that was me. I was standing behind him telling him what to tweet. I'm like,
That's
tell them
wild.
about Whitney. Tell them of how she was in the studio. Tell these people that's what because they want to know that.
Right. That's
And
what
it
I
was
mean.
right
Right. Yeah.
after she had passed. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, that's a wild story.
it is crazy.
Yeah. Like you taught like Whitney Houston's producer how to use Twitter.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
it's like
and
it doesn't even sound right when you say it out loud.
it does, it sounds crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, you've done so much and you have such a wealth of knowledge. If I was a young lady, we're talking first, second year in college, coming out, and I'm like, I want to do something in media. I want to work with people in music or entertainment as a writer in some writing capacity, whether interviewing, editing, media. What advice would you give me? 19, 20, 21 years old.
I just had this discussion actually, because I've been working with some students at University of South Florida, because they were actually working on a project trying to, because, well, they're more in PR, but there were a couple that were like, I realized I think I might want to do this when I graduate. So what I told them was the biggest thing would be to work on writing. Obviously, whether you're wanting to be in front of the camera or not, writing is going to be key, because that way it'll teach you how to, one, communicate, right? So most of the time on my interviews, I'm going off the dome anyway, but like, just because I'm at that point that I can
Right.
do that, even though I'll prep and write all these questions.
Well, you're not year one. I mean,
Right.
somebody year one probably
Yeah.
should have
So
some notes.
Right, yeah, so I'm trying to explain to them the purpose behind that and the reason, like, TV news helped me, and that's always my suggestion is to whether you go shadow somebody in a TV station or shadow somebody that's doing what you wanna do that so you can really see what's going on behind the scenes, not just what you think is happening, because all people see online is the finished product. They don't see the work that goes behind it. So, you know, I even interns that would come in the newsroom, I'm like, I suggest you learn everything you can. I learned how to do every single job in there, and that made me valuable. And those skills I can still use now, except that editing that I refuse to do.
Mhm. I'll subcontract that part, but everything else I'll do.
Right. Yeah, but my suggestion is really just another thing, research. Just who are the people that you want to see that you look up to? Watch them. Who are you? Not, you don't want to like necessarily emulate them because you can't be anybody but yourself. So that's another thing because I had a lot of people try to copy my writing style on the Mofo Chronicles, and it flopped because they're not me and they don't write like that anyway. So I would just say, watch those people that you're wanting to be like. Don't be exactly like them, but just watch and see what they've done. Find somebody to shadow, find a mentor, do the work. Like it's not an overnight thing. You just really got to put in the work, do the work. Yeah. And you know what? And I'm always open. If you have questions, reach out. I'm on
There you
social
go.
media everywhere.
Yeah, right. Find me anywhere.
Yeah.
Wherever there's computers, you can find
Right.
me. So, well, that actually is a good segue to my next question. There is so much content out there, and you've done so many things. If there was one sole way or best way to support you in your efforts and your movement, what would be the best way? So somebody reads this, they go online and find you. What's the one thing you would want to tell people to do to support you?
Definitely click subscribe on Check the Rhymes TV and make sure that you, one, watch that content, like, share, comment, all those things. But you can also catch Solebration every single Wednesday. The times shift sometimes, so I'll just say every single Wednesday on blackdoctor.org's Facebook Live, YouTube Live. And like I said, I do stream it on Check the Rhymes TV's YouTube. So if lifestyle content is your thing, then you'll definitely want to check out Solebration because it's health, wellness, lifestyle. And I know some people were thinking, oh, it's just for people that are Gen X or millennials. No, we are talking to a whole spectrum of people. And all of it applies because you have your health, right?
Right.
So it
Yeah.
applies to you.
Yeah. Health isn't age specific. A good habit's a good habit, you know?
Yeah.
I just can't stress enough. I am so glad we ended up putting this together and we're able to connect. I knew this was going to be a good talk, but you've exceeded every expectation. You're even more impressive in person to talk to. You have a captivating smile. You're wickedly smart, intelligent, talented. I'm still fanning out a little bit because, like I said, I took in a bunch of your content before we actually spoke, and I was a little intimidated. So I still am a little bit. But you are seriously, you are a force to be reckoned with, and I am so lucky that just to be able to share this time with you. So thank you. I mean that. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, Shameika.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. You asked some amazing questions. So hopefully I answered all of them the way that you wanted.
Yeah. better than I wanted. So that's it, folks. Join us next time on Loves Music. See you next time.